Get your rocking shoes, we're gonna rock and roll. Come on, cats, let's go, go, go.
Well, hello everybody and welcome to Vinyl Treasures. I'm your host, Johnny G. John Galito, coming to you live each and every Saturday only here on Top Shelf Oldies. Want to welcome you to the February 22nd, 2020 Vinyl Treasure Show. Glad you can join Johnny G on this nice day, nice Saturday afternoon here. Was sunny and it kind of mild. It's going to be better tomorrow. I'll be doing some walking tomorrow amongst other things, but sit back for the next 2 hours at least for some cool rock and roll and group harmony, vocal group harmony 45s out of my collection. We opened up tonight with a Waylon sax player from the West Coast, Joe Houston, his 8th of 16 releases on Jake Porter's combo label. It was called Rock That Boogie, recorded on many different labels, Bayou, RPM, Cash, Crown, Duto, Imperial, Lucky, Mercury, Modern, and others. But that one there from February 1956, Joe Houston on the combo label, Rock That Boogie. Well, enough of my babbling here. We open up the vocal portion now with a group from North Carolina, their 5th release on Bess Berman's Apollo label, with Charlie Little Jazz Ferguson and his orchestra backing up the Five Royales here with Johnny Tanner on lead. We go to July 1953. Give a listen to the Five Royales on Apollo with Laundromat Blues.
Don't rush, folks, just take your time. Give my baby 20 minutes and she'll make you lose your mind. My baby's got the best machine, the best washing machine in town. What a machine! My baby's got the best machine, the best washing machine in town. She's got the very best equipment. There's no better machine to be found. What machine? Just bring your dirty clothes, bring all your dirty duds. Don't worry about no soap, her machine is full of suds. My baby's got the best machine, the best washing machine in town. Just relax and take it easy while the machine goes round and round. every night. This is her motto. Customers always right. Just don't overload her machine. Best washing machine in town. If you want to see smooth action, it will cost you 30 cents a pound. What a machine! So treat my baby gentle, treat my baby kind, 'cause her kind of service nowadays is hard to find. She's got the best machine, the best washing machine in town. She can do it over and over, and her machine won't break down. What a machine!
That's a cool tune to open up the Vinyltreasure Show. The Laundromat Blues is the name of that one. The Five Royales, July 1953. It's on Bess Berman's Apollo record label. Johnny Tanner on lead. Did you listen to the lyrics of that song? Very interesting lyrics. There you go. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. We count down the music chronologically on the 50s and early 60s edition. Have a bunch of requests to feature tonight, and the next two I'll be playing early sides here, requested by new listener Jim Barrow. He's currently in our YouTube chat room there. Thank you, Jim, for your emails at vinyltreasures@aol.com. And he's listening in North Carolina. He requested an early side by this group out of Detroit, Michigan. They're called the Carols. It features Tommy Evans on lead. This is going out to Jim from May 1953 on Herman Lubinsky's Savoy Records. The Carols on the Savoy label. It's called 50 Million Women.
Well, out of 50 million women, why did I pick on you? Yes, out of 50 million women, why did I pick on you? Yes, I'm gonna shop around for a girl that can be true. Yes, you told me you love me, I sure believe that lie. Yes, you told me you love me, I sure believe that lie. But I found you were cooking for some other guy. Well, I gave you my money, gave till it hurt. Don't mind the money, but where is my shirt? Yes, baby, you gonna trick yourself. One of these days, baby, you're gonna wind up on the shelf. You said your girlfriend was sick, so you bought the car. I looked in the ashtray that she smoked cigars. Yes, baby, you gonna trick yourself. One of these days, baby, you're gonna wind up on the shelf. Some lumber, you better get wise. The call from there to building might just be your size. Yes, baby, you gonna trick yourself. One of these days, baby, you're gonna wind up on the shelf. So out of 50 million women, why must I come to you? Yes, out of 50 million women, why must I come to you? Oh, I'm crazy about your cooking, there's nothing I can do.
Yeah, that's my request going out to Jim Barrow there. Those are the Carols from May 1953. On Herman Lubinsky's Savoy Records out of Newark, New Jersey. 50 Million Women. The group is out of Detroit there. They had two earlier releases on Columbia Records back in 1950. And again, sounding a lot like Jimmy Ricks and the Ravens there, but a cool bass lead for that. Somebody likes those bass leads. Is it Nat in Naples, Florida that likes the bass leads? But anyway, and here's another early side that Jim requested by a group called the Five Scamps. They were out of Kansas City, Missouri. Initially, they recorded as the Scamps back in 1947 with releases on the Modern label. Then they signed with Columbia Records in 49. They had 5 releases, all on 78s. Now, Jim requested their second, which first came out in March of 1949, but for some reason, OK Records reissued it in November of 1954, and I happen to have the Mint 45 of that, and this is going out to Jim. It features Earl Robinson on lead. We go back to November 1954, the Five Scamps on the OK label. It's called With All My Heart.
With all my heart, who cares if the people know it? When I fall in love, I show it with all my heart. With all my heart, I thought there were robins calling. I didn't know I was falling with all my heart. I never thought that a love like this could possibly exist, but that was just before the moment we kissed. With all my heart, I thought love was meant to play with, till you came and wandered away with all my heart. I never thought a love like this exists, but that was just another moment. The moment we kissed. With all my heart, I thought love was meant to play with, till you came and wandered away with all my heart.
Early sides here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Request for Jim. Jim requested that Five Scamps, November 1954, With All My Heart, came out on the OK record label. That's the second issue in November 54. Really came out much earlier, March of 1949 on Columbia 78. Now, Earl Robinson on lead for that. The song was co-written by comedian Alan Sherman. You know Alan Sherman, of Hello Mother, Hello Father fame. And this group would have one final release in 1955 on the Peacock label, this as the Scamps. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. It's 1950s and early 60s original vinyl 45s out of my collection. Here's a request for Bopper Boy Warren in our YouTube chat room, an early one by the Rays, who would have a big hit in 1957. You all know it was called Silhouettes, but they initially recorded for Chess Records, and this was their debut single. It features Hal Miller on lead by request for Warren, December 1955. The Rays on Chess. It's called Tippity Top.
Tippity top, tippity, tippity top, took a trolley car way downtown. Got off the trolley and I looked all around. Thought I saw an angel standing there. Her heart began to pound and baby, I declare, tippity top, yeah, tippity top, tippity top. Well, I want your loving and I don't wanna stop. Tippity, tippity top, tippity, tippity top. Like a lightning bolt from out of the blue, it looked as though I met my Waterloo. It must have really been my lucky night. I knew I loved you, baby, at first sight. Tippity top, woo, yeah, tippity top, tippity top. Well, I want your loving and I don't wanna stop. How about another date tonight? Okay, Daddy, that'll be alright. Told her, honey, you must understand. You got me, pretty mama, in the palm of your hand. Tippity top, woo, yeah, tippity top, tippity top. Well, I want your loving and I don't wanna stop.
Those are the Rays. Hal Miller and the Rays going out to a Bopper Boy Warren, December 1955. That's their first release on Leonard Chess's Chess Records. Tippity Top is the name of that one. Of course, it was of Frank Slay and Bob Crew. Bob Crew, I think, was really pushing the group, managing the group at this time, and somehow got that contract with Chess Records. But after this, they left the label. Of course, they went on to have that big hit, Silhouettes, and Chess Records then released another side that they recorded back in 1955 on the Chess label. They released another song called Second Fiddle at the time that Silhouettes was becoming a hit, but they tried to ride the coattails of that hit on Cameo or XYZ, whichever one you have it on. But anyway, Johnny G here for Saturday evening. We continue. We are in the year 1955. Here's a request for Evan, who is in our YouTube chat room. Now, we head to Chicago, Illinois for this group. I posted this one up on my Facebook wall. You can check it out. Only had a chance to post one label, but it's this group's second overall release, and their first record came out on the Chance label. I have that one also. It was called I May Be Small. They followed it up with this one on Al Benson's Blue Lake label, so it's by request for Evan. It's a great tune by the Five Chances. It features Darnell Austin on lead. So going out to Evan from August 1955. It's a rare record on 45. The Five Chances on Blue Lake. It's called All I Want.
You know that I don't want a cat don't want a rich movie star. All I want is our love to be the same. You know that I don't want the world on a platter. All those things, my dear, they don't matter. All I want is our love to be the same. Be the same. I'm walking in the rain. I cry with a shame. Yes, you're my everything. My heart, my soul, my everything. Well, I don't want a castle in Spain. No. All those things, my dear, they are the same. No. All I want is our love to be the same. Be the same. You're my everything. My heart, my soul, my sweet refrain. Yes, if you go away, it's going to drive me insane. Well, I don't want Cadillac car. No. I don't want a rich movie star. No. All I want is our love to be the same.
Those are great Five Chances. All their records are great. You got to listen to the Five Chances there. August 1955, Evan Blatt requested that. A cool tune there, the Five Chances on Blue Lake Records. All I Want is the name of that one. Now, this song was first recorded, believe it or not, by the Five Thrills for the Parrot folks, but they never released it. I think it's on, I don't know if it's on that Parrot CD. I don't know, Daryl, I don't know if you have that Parrot CD. I do have that CD, but I don't know if there's a bunch of great unreleased stuff on that CD. I know a couple by the Orchids that are pretty nice, but I don't know if that's on that. I don't recall. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue here. Have a few flip sides from last week's Vinyltreasure Show, and one I played last week was by the Penguins. Featured their second on the Mercury label. It was called It Only Happens With You. That featured Cleve Duncan on lead. Let's flip the 45 over as it features another lead, baritone Bruce Tate on lead, and this was the only release that he sang lead on, and he also wrote the tune. Let's give it a spin here. June 1955, the Penguins on the Mercury label. It's called Walkin' Down Broadway.
Walking down Broadway, trying to find my baby. She walking down Broadway, trying to find my baby, but she won't come back to me. Walking down Broadway,
Those are the Penguins. The Penguins on the Mercury label. June 1955, that's their second Mercury release. Walking Down Broadway featured Bruce Tate on lead for that one. And he had some issues. I think he did some jail time, I think, for a hit and run. Back sometime in the 1950s, and he eventually left the group, unfortunately. But I think I read that on Marv Goldberg's site. You can check it out. Marv Goldberg has an excellent doo-wop site about all these groups. Great research he's done through the years, going way back to the early 1970s. And I do get a lot of information from Marv Goldberg. I have to give him credit for that wonderful website. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. We are in the year 1955, and another 45 I played last week was by the Turbans, their debut single on Al Silver's Herald label, the classic When You Dance. And we sent it out to my Aunt Mary's high school friend, Cecilia Kelly. And we're going to flip it over because I also love the B-side of this from July of 1955. Let's give a listen to the Turbans with Al Banks on lead. It's on the Herald label. It's a great B-side. It's called Let Me Show You, parentheses, Around My Heart.
My heart is an open house, warm as can be. All that it needs is company. Please let me show you around my heart. Around my heart. My heart is a fireplace burning away, flaming with love both night and day. Please let me show you around my heart. Around my heart. There's room for your sadness, room for your gladness. I'll furnish everything you need. So darling, I plead, come into my waiting arms. Trust in me, dear. Give me a chance to prove that I care. Please let me show you around my heart. Around my heart. There's room for your sadness, room for your gladness. I'll furnish everything you need. So darling, I plead, come into my waiting arms. Trust in me, dear. Give me a chance to prove that I care. Please let me show you around my heart. Let me show you around my heart.
B-sides here on the Vinyltreasure Show. Those are the Turbans, Al Banks and the Turbans. July 1955, that's the flip side of When You Dance, Let Me Show You Around My Heart. They were out of Philadelphia, PA. And that's their first of 6 on the Herald label. We're going to send that one out to C. Kelly, my aunt's friend from high school, best friend from high school. Send that one out to see Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. Let's move into the year 1956 with a request for George Tompkins. This group out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, they had 2 releases on Woody Hinderling's Bullseye label, and this is their second. It features Fletcher Williams on lead. This is going out to George from June of 1956. They're called the 4 Dots. The 4 Dots on Bullseye. It's called Peace of Mind.
Have you ever been lonely with troubles concealed inside? Have you ever wanted only to run and hide? Well, I used to worry and wonder from day to day. Now I don't worry since I got down on my knees to pray. Well, it seems he stood beside me and told me to have no fear, that he'll always be beside me when troubles appear. And if you want peace of mind, but don't know just what to do, down on your knees, he'll take the time to give you peace of mind.
Yeah, those are the 4 Dots going out to George Tompkins. June 1956 there. Peace of Mind is the name of that one. Not to be confused with the Spaniels' Peace of Mind. That one there on the Bullseye record label. Fletcher Williams, he's the lead singer of the group. That is their second release. Their first one was Rita. I had that pulled too to play, so stay tuned for that record. Probably in 2 weeks, because next Saturday will be my All 60's show. It's the last Saturday of the month. It's leap year, actually, April 29th. So that's going to be the All 60's edition. But that one there going out to George Tompkins. Let's continue here. Used to hear this next song quite a bit on oldie radio back in the 1970s. The group is out of Harlem, New York. They had this lone release. As we go back to Herman Lubinsky's Savoy Records, the lead here is Lee Witherspoon. And let's give a listen to the Cubs. The Cubs from September 1956 on Savoy. It's called Why Did You Make Me Cry?
Why
Kitty Leeds here on the Vinyltreasure Show. Sounds like a young teen, kind of like a Frankie Lyman sound there by a group called the Cubs. I guess appropriate to call that group the Cubs. The Cubs from September 1956, Herman Lubinsky's Savoy Records. Why Did You Make Me Cry? Lee Witherspoon on lead for that one as we continue on the Vinyltreasure Show. Now, here's a request for Nat Papagallo, listening in Naples, Florida. He either listens live or he listens on the archive. Lots of you go to the archive during the week. Thank you, folks, for doing that. Please let me know what you think about the show. If you're a first-time listener, send me an email at vinyltreasures@aol.com. But Nat requested this group out of Phoenix, Arizona. Now, this record initially came out on the local Liberty Bell label, which I do own. It's pretty cool. One side is yellow, a yellow color label. I think the flip is like either orangey or pinkish or two-tone or something like that. But anyway, I have a nice mint copy on the Dot label, and that was handy, so I'm going to spin my mint copy of this, nationally distributed by Dot Records, of course. It was written by the lead singer. His name is Leroy Fully Love. Let's go to October of 56. It's going out to Nat. They're called the Tads. The Tads on the Dot label. It's called Your Reason.
Your reason, your reason, your reason, your reason. I knew you didn't love me. After all the things you said last night, I guess it is better to quit than to fight. You're leaving me, but I don't know why. But I promise until I die, no matter what you say or do, I will always love you. Tell me your reason why we couldn't get along. I knew from the start that something was wrong. I tried so hard to do my best, and I found out you love someone else before. Oh, my dear, before there'll always be a place in my heart for you and you alone, till you return back. Tell me your reason why we couldn't get along.
That's a nice tune there by the Tads, October 1956. I featured it on the Dot label, nationally distributed by Dot Records. You know, they nationally distributed a lot of local songs that were starting to take off regionally in certain areas. They were known for that, Randy Wood and the Dot label. But that's the Tads, Your Reason, going out to Nat Papagallo, Leroy Fully Love on lead for that one. And this group also recorded as the Dots on the Rev label. Have that 45. They do, what is that cover song that they do? Daryl, you're going to have to help me out there. The Dots on Rev. I have that record. I know it was expensive when I bought it. Oh, the Ring Chimes, I think. Is that the one? Anyway, Johnny G drawing a blank here as we continue on the Vinyl Treasure Show. We move into 1957 with a rare 45. Came out on Ben Smith's Extra label. So if you collect that label, be prepared to spend a lot of money on those 45s because many of those are expensive. Now, this is an integrated group that got together while attending Washington High School in 1956 down in Manhattan. Now, it features Fred Brunner on lead, and the label owner, Ben Smith, he's playing the baritone sax on this. We're going to send this one out to Bob and Valada on her birthday. This is going out to them. This is early 1957. They're called The Unknowns. The Unknowns on Extra. It's called You and Me.
Dobby, dobby,
called The Unknowns. The Unknowns there from early 1957 on Ben Smith's Extra Records. He played that baritone sax you heard there in the break of the record. You and Me is the name of that one. Of course, as Daryl would say, I can't file that one back until I play the flip side in a couple of weeks. It's called One More Chance. Great ballad on the B-side, on the flip side there. I don't know if it's the B-side. That's probably was the A-side, usually the up-tempo. But for you collectors out there, if you want that record and you can't afford it on the Extra label, I don't know if Collectibles put it out, but you can get it on the Shield label. 1962, it was reissued on Shield, and Times Square Records pushing that 45 back then, but you can get it on the Shield label much cheaper. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue here, and up next is the very first song to be played on that time capsule show, the historic show for record collectors ahead of its time when it made its debut on WFUV on March 28th of 1963, believe it or not. Now, this song was picked by co-host Tom Luciani, and both Tom and Joe Marchesani would co-host the show every Saturday, and every time I would tune into that show, I wouldn't know any of the records. I mean, I was lucky to know one song that they featured on that show when I started getting into it. Of course, I was writing all the songs down for my want list, and that's really how it began. So my aunt really she introduced me to all this music, and then I started tuning in to these shows. And I don't know how I found out. I think I had a Bim Bam Boom magazine, I think, and in the back they would list all these radio shows that were around the country. And I tried to get them on my little transistor radio at the time, and I can get some of them in. Used to listen to Roy Adams. I don't think Ronnie I was on yet at the time, but there were a whole bunch of shows on WFUV and another station I used to tune into out of New Jersey. I forget. But anyway, this was the first record to be played on that historic time capsule show. And the song was written by bandleader Al Brown and the lead singer for the group, Johnny Mastrangelo. And this one from June of 1957. We go to the Joyce label, the Joyce Records here, for the Cress and their tune called Sweetest One. June 1957 release there for the Cress, Johnny Maestro on lead. That's on the Joyce label. For you collectors with the big Y, you got to buy that with the big Y. Sweetest One is the name of that one. First of two on Joyce Records. Now, I remember hearing that also on the Gus Gossard show. And again, that's the intended A-side. My Juanita was not the A-side, although I think a lot of the DJs in the New York area did play My Juanita also. Johnny G here spinning original vinyl 45s. Now, last week, played a request for Evan Blatt. He requested the Jesters out of Harlem, New York. Their second release on the Winley label, it was called Please Let Me Love You. That featured Lenny McKay on lead. Now, the B-side features the falsetto lead of Adam Jackson, who also co-wrote the tune. This one from October 1957. Let's give a listen to the Jesters on Winley. It's called I'm Fallin' in Love.
I think that I'm falling in love.
B-sides here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Those are the Jesters. The Jesters, October 1957. That is the B-side to Please Let Me Love You, song entitled I'm Falling in Love. Falsetto lead there. Adam Jackson is on lead for that, and that's on the Winley label. And another group that does a nice cover of that, the Highlights, out of Danbury, Connecticut. I think from 1961. They do a nice cover of that on the Record Fair label. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. We continue now, and this up next, a group out of Brooklyn, New York, and many of you are familiar with their New York City hit. It was called My Heart's Desire, came out on Joe Leibowitz's Premium label, which was out of Linden, New Jersey. Now, the manager of the group was a former member of the Larks. Alan Bunn was his name, and he wrote many of the group's tunes as he wrote this one. Now, this is the third release for this group on the Premium label. It features Rudy Anderson on lead. Let's go back a year, November 1956. Give a listen to The Wheels. The Wheels on the Premium label, and their tune called I Can't Forget.
I can't forget those happy hours I've spent with you last night. I can't forget the way you kiss and held me tight. I can't forget your smile so heavenly. I could hold you, dear, throughout eternity. I can't forget those lovely things you said to me last night. I can't forget because I love you. Can't you see? You are the dearest one I've ever met. Yes, I'm in love with you. That's why I can't forget. I can't forget those lovely things you said to me last night. I can't forget because I love you, can't you see? Yeah, you are the dearest one I've ever met. Oh, I'm in love with you. That's why I can't forget.
Yeah, those are the Wheels with really a voice you can really, unmistakable voice of Rudy Anderson on lead. Howard Guyton is another voice that you could easily pick out, but so I can pick out Rudy Anderson too because he has led other groups too. But those are the Wheels, November 1956. It's on the Premium label. That's their third release for Premium. I Can't Forget. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, I played a request for Nat Papagallo last week by the Revellons. Came out on on the Pet label, and it was the A-side of their release. It was called Dreams Are for Fools. Now, the B-side is also a nice ballad. It's on Don Carter and Don Robey's Pet label. Now, Robey also owned the Duke Peacock labels too, but let's give a listen to this B-side here from April 1958. We move into 58. The Revlons on the Pet label. It's called This Is the Moment.
This is the moment I waited for. This is the moment for love and joy. I love you, darling. Please wait for me. Please wait for me. This is the moment, calm my heart. This is the moment, for we will never part. I love you, darling. Please wait for me. We made a promise to be together, and nothing will keep us apart. I love you, dear. Just stay with me. Every night you will stay. This is the moment, calm my heart. This is the moment, for we will never part. I love you, darling. Please wait for me. Wait for
B-sides here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. We got to say hi to B-sides Brad. Thanks for tuning in, Brad. But those are the Revlons. The Revlons there, April 1958. This Is the Moment is the name of the tune. It's on the Pet label. And what confuses me with this release, because the number, I have both, because I don't know what is, I think they're different pressing plants. One has the number on the bottom of the label, and the other one has the number like on the side where the two double lines are. So I think they're different pressing plants that do that. There's slight variations in the labels. When you're a collector and you've been collecting as long as I have, you notice these things. But anyway, Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. Hope you're digging on the tunes here. We are in the year 1958. Now, the next couple of songs I'll be playing are going out to the Colonel, as he requested a twin spin by this group out of Columbus, Ohio, initially recording as the Columbus Pharaohs and then just as the Four Pharaohs. Now, this was their debut single, featuring the True First Press here on Eve Esta Dodd's Esta label, and it features Morris Wade on lead. So this is going out to the Colonel from March of 58. On this release that I'm featuring, the first press, they're known as the Columbus Pharaohs, Esta Records. This has Morris Wade on lead. It's called Give Me Your Love.
Give me your love, and I will make you mine. Our love will flow as smooth as wine if you just give me your love.
to love only you. I promise our love will be true if you just give me your heart.
Darling, you know that I love you
with all your many times.
Give me your love, and I will make you mine. Our love will flow smooth as wine if you just give me your love. Darling, give me your love.
That's going out to the Colonel. What a killer ballad there. That is such a great record. If you don't like that record, I don't know what to say, but to listen, that went out to Warren and Joanne McGuire, tuned into the Vinyltreasure Show on YouTube there. That is such a great record. The Columbus Pharaohs featured the first press of that March 1958 on the Esta label. Give Me Your Love is the name of that one. Now for you collectors out there, it was second pressed on the Ransom label, so you might have it on the Ransom label as the Four Pharaohs. You can also have a third press by the Four Pharaohs on the Paradise record label, but again, I think it was also re-recorded. Morris Wade re-recorded it again on the Nance label. I think they were called, the Egyptian Kings, I think, but it's a re-recorded version. But that is a great ballad there, I have to say. But we got a twin spin going out to the Colonel here, so we continue with it with this time the Four Pharaohs. This was their follow-up, and it came out on Howard Ransom's Ransom label, although if you look at the press, I held it to the camera, I'll hold it again when it's done, but there was an error in the typo of the label. They typed Ranson, S-O-N. It should be S-O-M. That was a mistake. That is a typo, but it is still a great follow-up tune, again with Morris Wade on lead. This is going out to the Colonel from October 1958. They are called the Four Pharaohs on this release, and it's called Pray for Me. Oh, wrong one. There you go.
Pray for me.
Pray for me.
So I'll return home to live happily. Oh, my darling, pray for me. So I'll return home to thee.
Yes, October 1958 for the Four Pharaohs. The Four Pharaohs there on the, it says Ransom. It should be Ransom label there. Morris Wade on lead, Pray For Me. That's going out to the Colonel. Now, there's one more release that came out just as Morris Wade on the Ransom label. It's Ransom 102. I have that. I have a white promo copy of that. That is another ultra rare 45 to find if you have that one, but I have featured it here on the Vinyltreasure Show. As we continue here, let's go back to the flip sides, as I played a request for the Colonel last week by a group called the Orientals on the KO label. They were out of New York City. It was a killer ballad. It was called Please Come Back Home. Now, listener Daryl Letts, listening in Flint, Michigan, I think, Daryl, I think they said he always types in, I can't file this one back until we hear the flip side. So we're gonna play this one for Daryl. It's a little bit of a novelty tune, so I wonder if Brian has this record. I'm asking Brian if he has this 45, but I think it's just it's an okay record. I'm not much on the novelties, but it's a cool up tempo. We'll say that. We're gonna send this one out to Daryl as we stay in the year 1958, August 58 to be exact. These are the Orientals on the KO label. It's called Get Yourself to School.
Yourself to school.
Wanna be a fool?
I know you think you're very smart, but still you're just a young upstart. You'd better get back to your books, 'cause you can't get by on your looks.
You better get yourself to school.
Wanna be a fool?
I've heard you talk that jive talk. I've seen you walk that real hip walk, but I don't see no evidence to prove you got a lick of sense.
You better get yourself to school.
Wanna be a fool?
You got your wig fixed real cute, but you don't know how to make no look. And if you had to use your brain, you'd wind up in an awful strain.
You better get yourself to school.
Wanna be a fool?
This world is moving awfully fast, and praise not brought is gonna last. Now do you think you'll stand a chance when all you can do is cut up and dance?
You better get yourself to school.
Wanna be a fool?
No.
Novelty tunes here on the Vinyltreasure Show. That's going out to Daryl Letts, the Orientals, August 1958. Get yourself to school. That is very important. Evan, get yourself to school. That is for sure. That's on the KO record label as we continue here on the Vinyltreasure Show. Let's go back to Don Carter and Don Roby's Pet label. And this is a request for Evan. Evan, this is a request you made here. I recently played this last November. Maybe Evan wasn't listening at the time, but it's good enough to play again. That's what I say. This group is out of Brooklyn, New York. It features Nathaniel Butch Epps on lead. It's going out to Evan from November 1958. Give a listen to the Capitals. The Capitals on the Pet label. It's called Angel of Love.
Now that I found you, want you forever, never forsake you, we'll stay together, 'cause you are my angel, my angel of love. Give me your heart, dear. I want your love, yeah. Won't you surrender? 'Cause you are my angel of love. Angel of love. Oh, I prayed every day. Right out of the heavenly blue, someday we'll marry and share each other. We'll raise a family like dad and mother. 'Cause you are my angel, my angel of love.
Those are the Capitals. The Capitals going out to Evan Black there, November 1958. It's on the Pet label. That's the same label that I featured the Revlons on, except this is a yellow label. And those are the Capitals with Angel of Love. Now, the bass of the group that you heard in that song, that was Curtis Fulch. And in the early 1960s, he would record on the New York City Diamond label as Kurt Harris. For you Northern Soul collectors, he has an in-demand tune called Emperor of My Baby's Heart. But he was doing bass with the Capitals there on that 45 song. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. Hope you're digging on the cool tunes. We continue here. And how about I feature a rocker? Lord knows I have thousands of rockers in my collection. Now, this is from the state of Virginia, and it's the debut single for this artist. Came out on the Tip Top label, and the Tip Top Records located in Richmond, Virginia. Not the same Tip Top that I played last week. The Creations were on. A couple other groups are on, but this is a different Tip Top label. Now, this charted regionally. This was number 39 in Norfolk, Virginia, on the WAVY station. And his name is Doug Powell. I think Warren will like this tune here. Doug Powell here from August 1958. It's on Tip Top. It's called The Lord Made a Woman.
Oh, well, the Lord made a woman, and the Lord made a man, and he put them onto this earth to do the best they can. Oh, when he made a woman, he made a powerful thing. Well, she can make a man jump right on an apron string. Oh, well, the Lord made the mountain, and the Lord made a sea, and the Lord made the beautiful skies. He made a you and me. Oh, when he made a woman, he made a powerful thing. Well, she can make a man jump right on an apron string. Oh, well, it rained the first night, and it rained the last. And the Lord then he said to them, let the sunshine pass. Oh, when he made a woman, he made a powerful thing. She can make a man jump right on an apron string. Well, the Lord made a woman, and the Lord made a man, and he put him on this earth to do the best they can. Oh, and he made a woman, he made a powerful thing. Well, she can make a man jump right on an apron string.
His name is Doug Powell. Doug Powell. When you collect group harmony records, sometimes you get offers to buy other records at cheaper prices. And if somebody offers records like that for $1, I'm going to buy them because I collect, I'm a completist when it comes to labels. I used to collect thousands and thousands and thousands of labels. Originally, I was collecting group harmony, but then I started running multiple labels. And within a lot of the labels, especially the R&B labels, you would get blues, you'd get R&B, you'd get group harmony, you get a couple other things. Sometimes you get some cool rockers too, like that one, which I like. I do like those rockers there. I used to do a rockabilly record of the week, by the way, and a gospel record of the week. I used to also play 78s. I know Braden would like me to play the 78s. I used to rotate with the two turntables. I had 78s on one, and then I had 45s on the other. But anyway, those are the Doug Powell. That was Doug Powell, August 1958, on the Tip Top label. The Lord Made a Woman. He has others on Decca, on Cato, and I think on Mercury. Johnny G here, spinning original vinyl 45s, and let's continue with the B-sides from last week. I played a request for Ron Feba. He dedicated the song to his wife Dorothy for Valentine's Day. The song was called Dorothy. Now Daryl asked if I could flip it over, and I most certainly will because I do love this flip side from this group from Bergen County, New Jersey. Dave Brigotti's on lead. This one from May 1958, going out to Daryl. The High Fives on the Decca label. It's called Just a Shoulder to Cry On.
Cry on my shoulder. Cry, cry. I'm just a shoulder to cry on for you. You don't think about me, just about you. I'm just a shoulder to cry on for you. So cry, cry, cry out your eyes. You run to me when he breaks your heart. You tell me the story right from the start. Oh, what can I do? I love you with all my heart. On my shoulder, go ahead and cry. It doesn't matter if I live or die. Cry on my shoulder. Cry, cry, cry. Maybe I'll say goodbye. I'm just a shoulder cry on for you. You don't think about me, just about you. I'm just a shoulder cry on for you. So cry, cry, cry.
Lauren, I have to agree. That's their best record, in my opinion. I love that side there by the High Fives, May 1958. That's going out to Darrell Letts. Just a Shoulder to Cry on. I think Brad likes that one, too. Just a Shoulder to Cry on. That's on the Decca record label. That's the second of three for the High Fives on Decca, with Dave Brigatti on lead. He is the older brother of Eddie Brigatti of the Young Rascals. Now, Lenny Dell and the Dimensions also do a nice rendition of that song on the Choral label. So if you like that tune, you're gonna like the one by the Dimensions. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening. Here's another rare 45 you don't hear every day, and it's from the Bahamas. I'll show it again to you guys on the webcam. You can check it out, but it is from the Bahamas. I mean, maybe it was pressed in the U.S. and the offices are in the Bahamas, but anyway, it's from there. Now, this group is called the Dellos, Dellos, and they're backing up a singer by the name of John Shaw. This one arranged and directed by Billy Cook. Let's go to July of 1958. It's John Shaw and the Dellos. It's on the UC label, the letter U-C. And I have other things on this label, believe it or not. It's by John Shaw and the Dellos. It's called Why Did You Leave Me?
Why did you leave me? Why did you go? No, my little darling, I love you so. Why did you leave me? Why did you ever go? My heart, why, my little darling, why did we part? Why did you leave me? Why did you break my heart? You know, when you left me, you broke my heart. Why did you leave me? Why did we part? Why did you leave me? Why did you break my heart? Now that we parted, I miss you so. Why did you go? Why did you leave me? Why did you have to go?
Actually, John Shaw is probably the band leader there. That sounded like a full group. It didn't sound like they were backing up anybody. But anyway, they're called the Dellos, July 1958. It's on the UC label. Why Did You Leave Me is the name of the song there. Now, they would change their name to the Sensational Dellos, and they have a release on the Mida label out of Florida in 1959. It's Donnell Austin and the Sensational Dellos. I got to go back and check my copy of that. I wonder if that is also a full vocal group and the band, because they did that a lot in the 50s. They would have the band leader, they would say, you know, so-and-so and the whatever, and sometimes you just had the band leader that got the main credit, and over to the right you saw in small print, like it would be the Johnny Otis Show, but you would see, the 2 tons of joy in the top, or Mel Williams up over in the top. But anyway, Johnny G here spinning original vinyl 45s. Let's continue here and back to the flip sides. And last week I played a request for George Tompkins by the Supremes, a group out of Roxbury, Massachusetts. On the Kitten label was the ballad side of the record, Could This Be You, with Ralph Murphy on lead. Now, listener Daryl Letts requested I play the up-tempo B-side, so we're going to send this one out again to Daryl from March of 59 now. The Supremes on Kitten. It's called Margie.
Hey, baby, come over here. I got a story that I want you to hear.
Well, I saw a little kitten walking down the street. I gazed at her, she looked so damn neat. Well, as for Margie, she is the one for me. I said, hey there, Daddy, I dig your style. Let's get together and we'll talk a little while. Well, as for Margie, she is the one for me. She's the cutest little thing in the world, and I'll never let her go. Now, Margie, dear, you're for me. Margie, I love you so. We're gonna rock, we're gonna have a swinging time. Well, that's my girl, she sure is fine. Well, that's my Margie, she's the one for me. Yeah! She's the cutest little thing in the world, and I'll never, never let her go. Well, now, Margie, dear, you're for me. Margie, I love you so. We're gonna rock, we're gonna have a swinging time. Well, that's my girl, she sure is fine. Well, that's my Margie, she's the one for me. Good, good, Margie.
As going out to Daryl Letts, the Supremes there, March 1959. It's on the Kitten label, a song entitled Margie. That's the B-side of the 45 as we continue now. We have three more in 1959. Now we continue with the request. This time we go to Steubenville, Ohio, requested by Nat. This group initially recorded as the Buckeyes on Deluxe. My favorite tune by them is called Dottie Baby, but they changed their name though to the Stereos, and Nat requested this Otis Blackwell composition. This charted number 17 on WTIX in New Orleans, Louisiana. As we go to the Gibraltar label, this features Bruce Robinson on lead. This one from July 59, going out to Nat. These are the Stereos with A Love for Only You.
Please take this heart of mine before it starts to cry. It holds a love that's true. A love for only you. Don't turn your back on me. Please hear this humble plea. Happiness can only come through a love for only you. I what you're doing to me. Too long my lips were sealed. Now, dear, I must reveal. I give my whole life to a love for only you. A love for only you.
Nice ballad going out to Nat Papagallo, the Stereos there, July 1959. A Love for Only You is the name of that tune. Came out on the Gibraltar label. It's out of East Orange, New Jersey. Now, this group would later have a hit on the Cub label. I know some of you know those Cub releases. Some pretty good. I Really Love You from 1961, a 45 my aunt purchased back in 1961. As we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, got another request, this time for Bopper Boy Warren. Warren currently in the top... He was in the Top Shelf Oldies chat room. He's in the YouTube chat room. That's where all the action is, talking about collecting records there. Now, this is on Florence Greenberg's Scepter label, the White Scepter label, written by Hubert Titus, who is the lead singer for a group called the Titones, and this is going out to Warren from November 1959. The Titones on Scepter. It's called The Movies.
We like to go to the movie. We like to go to the movie. No, we don't. No, we don't. No, no, no. We don't watch the show. No, we don't. No, we don't. No, no, no. We don't watch the show. Movie. There's a ring on a finger to show that we're going steady. She's the angel in my dream. She is my movie queen. We like to go to the movie. We make romance in the movie. No, we don't. No, we don't. No, no, no. We don't watch the show. Movie. We like to go to the movie. We like to go to the movie. We like to go to the movie.
As requested by Warren Russell, currently in our YouTube chat room. Those are the Titones. The Titones with Hubert Titus on lead, November 1959. The Movies is the name of that one. Came out on the White Scepter label. Now, this was re-released in 1960 on the Scepter's sister label, Juan. So you can also have this record on the Juan label. I do that. It's like a white label Juan with with the like red lettering, which looks pretty cool. But anyway, I remember I bought this record years and years ago. Sometime in the early 80s, I went to a Connecticut record show and Waterbury, Connecticut, and I bought it from the Count. You don't want to deal with Bob Ellis. I mean, he still is, I think he still goes to the shows. He's slowed down quite a bit. These guys are older now, much older. I'm old, but they're older. And it was difficult buying records from the Count. I would hem and haw. I said, Count, you have $75 on this record? There is no way in that condition. So I'd hem and haw. He goes, all right, give me 50. I said, no way, I'm not buying 50. It's not 50. And the other collectors were laughing at me. I'm sitting there waiting. I said, Count, you're taking up my time. I got all these great dealers I can go to, and I'm here peddling around with you on these VG minus records. I think he eventually sold me that for $12, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, as we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show, got one more record out of the year 1959, and it's a request for Evan that missed me playing this on December 21st. Evan, I don't know if you were tuned into that December 21st show of 2019, but Nat Papagallo requested this one. So let's resend it out to both Evan and the previous requester, Nat. They're called the Cineramas. They are out of Stamford, Connecticut, with Frankie Palmer on lead. This one, late 1959. Give a listen to the Cineramas on Rhapsody. It's called Crying for You. That's the second release on the Rhapsody label for the Cineramas. Late 1959, Crying for You is the name of that one. Frankie Palmer on lead. They mentioned that on the label. The flip side is a different lead. I think it's an up-tempo on the flip side. Johnny G here spinning 1950s. We move into 1960s now. And with a group from Owensboro, Kentucky. Now we go to Owensboro, Kentucky. It's on Royce Morgan's Royce label, Royce, which was located in Central City, Kentucky. If you know where that is, I do not. But the group included two brothers, Charles and Richard Brown. Now Richard does lead on side A and Charles does lead on side B, but I decided to spin side B tonight. So we're going to give a listen to side B was what Charles Brown on lead here. Now the group is called the Five Embers. This one from March of 1960. Give a listen to the Five Embers on the Royce label. It's called My Fragile Heart.
My fragile heart, I try so hard to warn you that this romance just was not meant to be. My fragile heart, perfect formula to you. I know she was so popular, but just one day she was through. I know through love and memories they will haunt you. My fragile heart, our love will come to you. Our love will come to you.
I was just teasing the watchers with some other records that are floating around here, but that's a rare 45 by the Five Embers, a different tempo speeds on that. You notice that on that record? March 1960, My Fragile Heart. It's on the Royce record label. Charles Brown on lead for that one, but sounds a little earlier than 1960, doesn't it? Doesn't sound like a 1960 release anyway, but we are in the early 60s now. Now I featured the B-side of this next 45 on January 18th of 2020. Look how long it took me, a month, to end up playing the A-side of this, but I like both sides of this Ember 45, and I always thought this side was the B-side because all the radio stations played the side called Wishing Ring, but this side is the A side, and this side charted regionally. This was a number 72 record on KTSA in San Antonio, Texas, but the group is out of New Haven, Connecticut, and they're called the Five Satins. So let's flip over their Wishing Ring, which was the B side, and give a listen to the intended A side. Fred Paris is on lead. He also wrote the tune, this one from January 61. These are the Five Satins on Ember with Tell Me Dear.
Tell me you love me from the start. Tell me, dear,
As Fred Paris and the Five Satins, their January 1961 release on Al Silver's Ember Records. Tell Me Dear is the name of that tune. As we continue now, we head to Chicago, Illinois for this next group that included four brothers, Howard, Charles, Tommy, and Walter Scott, plus another member by the name of Ike Hickman. Collectively, they were known as the Masquerades. Now, they have a fairly common release. I'm sure many of you own the record. It's called Three Red Roses. It was kind of a hit, I think, in the Chicago area. But I'm sure many of you own that record on the formal label, but you probably have the lime color label. It's a formal 1012, and that is the common release. But for you collectors out there, the true first press of this record came out a month earlier on formal 1011, and is a very thick press. Those other lime color presses, Capitol Records press those, but not the first press, so they're really hard to find. I think Greg Zurich sold me this so many years ago. But anyway, this is the first press, which is more of an aqua green. I'll show it to you again in the webcam. But that's the side I'm spinning. This is the original, the first press, I guess we can call it, but it's from September 1960, the Masquerades on formal. It's called These Red Roses.
These red roses, I sent to your home. They tell me, that's more than true. Take these red roses, press to your heart. Let them remind you that we'll never part. You are my one and only. Without you I would die. Oh, life can be so lonely. Oh, I'm frozen on the ground. These red roses, I sent to your home. They tell you, darling, that I love only you. You are my one and only. Without you I would die. Oh, life can be so lonely. Oh, I'm frozen on the ground. These red roses, I sent to your home. They tell you, darling, I love only you. Well, I love only you.
Yeah, those are the Masquerades. The Masquerades from September 1960 featured it on the formal label, but the first press of that, I will show you this aqua color label, not the lime green label. Three Red Roses is the name of that one. Now, I don't know, Warren, if those Scott brothers, are those the Scott brothers that recorded on a bunch of different labels. I think, though, they might not be, because this same group also recorded on the Boyd label. They do a great record called Vanessa from like 1964. It's a killer ballad. I'll have to pull that out to play. But let's continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. I have another twin spin request now for young Evan in our chat room, that as we head out to the West Coast now, actually the group is from Seattle, Washington, and they're called the Galahads. Now, Evan requested their second release that came out on Bob Keene's Delphi label. Their first was a song called Lonely Guy. That's a great tune that they do. And they followed it up with a song called I'm Without a Girlfriend, but Evan requested the B-side of the 45. It features Jimmy Pipkin on lead. So this is going out to Evan from September 1960. These are the Galahads on Delphi. It's called Be Fair.
A blind boy and his girl were crossing the street one day, and I shuddered as I passed them when I heard him say, Be
be fair. Darling, be kind, be fair. It's no fun when you're blind. Are you holding my hand? Then kissing my best friend. Be fair. Be honest with me. Be fair. You know I can't see when you walk me home. You always say we're all alone. But I have the feeling. Yes, I have the feeling. Right here beside me, making love again. Be fair. Darling, I'll understand. Be fair. Let go of my hand. And after today, I'll just feel my own way. Darling, please be fair. Be kind to me. You know I'm blind. You know I can't see. Please be fair. Be fair.
That's interesting lyrics on that one about a blind man there. Those are the Galahads. September 1960, Jimmy Pipkin on lead the Galahads on Delphi with a song entitled Be Fair. Now, I mentioned it was a twin spin going out to Evan here for this Seattle, Washington group. They're known as the Galahads. Now, their debut single came out on the Night Owl label, and the song was called Gone. It was written by Bob Dixon, originally released in November of 1959. Now, when Evan sent me his requests, he said he wanted to hear the Galahads Gone on the Rendezvous label. He didn't know that it first came out on the Night Owl label and was resung, or there's a different rendition on the Rendezvous label. So I'm going to play a little bit. I had to line it up. I bought this record years ago from John Tefteller. He never mentioned that it was off-center, so I was not a happy camper with that, because I forget what I paid for this. I wouldn't say it was so much, but it was more that I would want to for a record. It's Stone Mint, but it's slightly off-center. I hate off-center records. I hate them. But anyway, I'm going to play a little bit of the original version, and then we're going to play the version that Evan wanted to hear. But here's the original version. We'll play a little bit of the song Gone. Has Bob Dixon on lead. These are the Galahads.
Oh, 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 God. His dream of loving you. I should have known it could not be true for me to be in love with you. Oh, loving me. That's all I wanted you to do. But you would not give your love to me as I give mine to you.
Gee, I didn't line that up so well. Kind of upsetting me to see that happen. But anyway, that's the original version of the song by the Galahads, Gone, with Bob Dixon on lead. Now, I don't know if he's doing lead on the the re-sung version, but it's quite different, I'd say it is. Better sounding in my opinion. So this is by request for Evan, the re-sung version, and it's actually the B-side that came out on Leon Renee's Rendezvous label. This one from June of 1961, and these are the Galahads on Rendezvous. This is the one that Evan requested.
Oh, 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 gone. His dreams of loving you, I should have known it could not been true. Only to be in love with you. My dearest darling, I love you. And darling, no matter how far away you are, I want you to know the spark of love is still burning strong in my heart. Whoa!
Twin spin there by the Galahads, June 1961. Gone is the name of that one. Actually, that's the B-side of the 45. It's on the Rendezvous record label. The flip side is actually a decent cover of Why Do Fools Fall in Love, I think, is the up-tempo side of that. Johnny G here in Vinyl Treasure Overtime now. You know, Johnny G always puts in a little bit of overtime here. And up next, a group from Inglewood, New Jersey, probably mostly remembered for their cover versions. I'm sure you know the tunes, Count Every Star. They also do another hit they had, Moonlight Serenade. That came out on the Coed record label in 1958 and 59 respectively, but this is really their hardest record to find on the Coed label, and I think this song was banned on certain radio stations, so that's why this record really never took off, but it's their 8th of 9 on the Coed label. And I got, Brian, do you have this record by the Rivieras? It features Homer Dunn on lead, and these are the Rivieras with an added female voice. They mention it at on the bottom of the label there. It says and Dolores. So she's the voice you hear on this, whoever Dolores is. But let's give it a spin here. This is the hardest 45 to find by the Rivieras from August 61 on Coed. It's the Rivieras with Refrigerator.
Brrr, baby, like what does it take to warm you up? Baby,
you're just like a refrigerator. I go like a refrigerator. When I hold you and start to squeeze, all you do is start to freeze.
Let me tell you why I freeze and resist. I'm sweet 16 and never been kissed.
You're just like a refrigerator. Ice cold like a refrigerator. My heart's on fire, lips are burning too. Tell me what to do to defrost you.
It's as simple as ABC, that you're never ever gonna defrost me.
You don't look to be a cold someone. You look warmer than the summertime. Your eyes are pretty and your shape is just right. Why can't I light the fire when I hold you tight? You're just like a refrigerator. I feel like a refrigerator. I try to melt the ice around your heart, but you freeze right up on me before I start.
If you think that you can get to me by saying I'm cold, you can just keep talking till you're 80 years old.
Why can't I light the fire when I hold you tight? You're just like a refrigerator. Ice cold like a refrigerator. I try to melt the ice around your heart, but you freeze right up on me before I start.
You're a cutie, you sly old fox, but I'm gonna stay like a cold ice box. I'm gonna stay like a cold ice box. You always say I'm a cold ice box. Well, I'm gonna stay like a cold ice box. You sly old fox.
That's August 61. Those are the Riviera's Far From Moonlight Cocktails and Count Every Star. But that's Homer Dunn on lead. The Riviera's on the co-ed record label Refrigerator with Dolores there in the background and with Al Simola and his orchestra. Johnny G here for a Saturday evening as we continue here. We go to Queens, New York for another request for young Evan Blatt. This group initially backed up Kathy Jean on her 1960 hit, if you know the tune, Please Love Me Forever, on the Valmore label. They would eventually have releases on their own on Valmore and Philips and Canadian American and Cameo, and that's the 45 Evan requested on the Cameo label. It features Steve Suskind on lead, and let's give a listen to their rendition of the 1947 tune from October 62. These are the Roommates on Cameo with their version of Sunday Kind of Love.
Through with my own love, I loved her through and through. I'm searching for a new love. Can that new love be you? I want a Sunday kind of love. A love to last till Saturday night. I wanna know it's more than love at first sight. I want a Sunday kind of love. Sunday kind of love. I want a love that's on the square. Can't seem to find somebody to care. I'm on a lonely road that leads to nowhere. I want a Sunday kind of love. I do my Sunday dreaming and all my Sunday scheming. Every minute, every hour, every day. I'm hoping to discover a certain kind of lover who will show me the way. My
country road that leads to nowhere. I want a Sunday kind of
Cover tunes here on the Vinyltreasure Show. That one requested by young Evan, 15-year-old Evan Blatt. October 1962, the Roommates on the Cameo label with their version of Sunday Kinda Love. We continue now. We go to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, to Buddy Caldwell's Palm label, as this singer has other releases on Buddy's V-Tone and Len labels, but this one's on Palm, and he's being backed up by a group called the Cruisers, who also recorded for the V-Tone label. Let's give a listen to Herb Johnson. We're going to have to call the lawyers in on this one. Let me know what this song sounds like. Sounds like another song you all should know, but this one from July 62. It's Herb Johnson on the Palm label, and it's called Help.
Help, 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 will you? Oh, please, come back, baby, before I'm gonna get the best of me, since you've been gone. I've been in the middle. Help, help, will you? Now that you've gone, I'm not surprised. Sometimes I think I'm almost dying. All that I want is for you to come back to me. Help, help, will you? I didn't mean to treat you wrong, darling, please. Come on back home, and I promise, oh yes I will, never again to wrong. Oh, please, come back, baby, before I'm gonna get the best of me, since you've been gone. I've been in the misery. Help, help, will you? I didn't mean to treat you wrong, darling, please. Come on back home, and I promise, oh yes I will, never again to wrong. Oh, please, come back, baby, before I'm gonna get the best of me, since you've been gone. I've been in the misery.
That's not a cheapie 45 if you have it on original. You can get it on a bootleg, but original is pretty tough. And that's another hem and hawing record I got from the Count many years ago. But that's a cool tune. I like that tune. But call the lawyers on that, because it does sound like the charts Zoop. But that's Herb Johnson with the Cruisers backing him up. They're not mentioned on the label. July 1962 on Buddy Caldwell's Palm Records out of Philadelphia, PA, a song entitled Help, as Johnny G doesn't need help yet, but I'll need help this week. So as I pull out 1960s 45s, because next Saturday will be my all 60s show. So those of you that like, I feature some from 63, but I go up to 69, maybe a touch of 70s. I do have another section of genre music in my wheelbarrow. Not as good as Dave the Rave, but I do have some pretty cool 60s tunes, that I do that the last Saturday of every month. But let's continue here. We are in the year 1962 for this singer from San Benito, Texas. Began recording, believe it or not, in Mexico in 1957, but he was born here in the USA. He was known as El Bebop Kid back in 1957, but his real name was Baldemar Garza Huta. I think Did I say that right? Hueta. But in 1958, he legally changed his name to Freddie Fender, and in 1959, he signed with Duncan Records, but in 1962, he had some releases on the Talent Scout label under the alias of Scotty Wayne. So let's give a listen to this Scotty Wayne release on the Talent Scout label, aka Freddie Fender, May 1962. It's called Only One.
You'll never know how much I love you so. I guess you'll never, the reality will know. Only one, be mine. How can I survive the memory that I carry in my heart? Just anybody can pick you up like that. Just anyone, only one. I'll never have the occasion to hold you in my arms, to hold you close, darling, so close to me. Tears drop down when my friends tell me that you'll never be mine. But I can't help it, you're the first love in my life, and in my heart you will be.
That's Scotty Wayne, a.k.a. Freddie Fender there. We're going to send that one out to my administrative assistant, Charlene Whiteside of Huntsville, Texas. She owns that 45. Charlene's so instrumental with helping Johnny G doing all the research on the Vinyltreasure Show. She likes that tune, Scotty Wayne, Freddie Fender there, May 1962, on the Talent Scout label, song entitled Only One. And, of course, Freddie Fender would have his biggest hit, believe it or not, in 1975 on the Dot label, before The Next Teardrop Falls was the name of that one. I remember when that one was out, and I picked it up at probably at a flea market for a couple pennies, but I got a nice mint copy of that on styrene. But anyway, it was unfortunate, though, that he passed away on October 14th, 2006 at the age of 69 from lung cancer. But that is a cool tune. He has some other ones on the Duncan label that are pretty nice also. But let's continue here. A few weeks ago, I played a request for Evan by the Cacti's, a group from Brooklyn, New York. Now, I featured the true first press of the song Walking in the Rain on the Transatlas label, which included the Thunderclaps. You don't get that on the Cape release, but let's flip the 45 over and give a spin to the B-side before I file it back down in the No Humidity basement. It features Robert Burton on lead, this one from 62, the Cacti's on the Transatlas label with their tune called Smile.
Oh, diddly bom bom bom, diddly bom diddly, oh diddly bom bom, 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 diddly bom.
They're out of Brooklyn, New York. Those are the Cacti. That's the B-side. The B-side to Walking in the Rain on the original label Transatlas Records from 1962. Now, how about a twin spin by this Brooklyn, New York group? They also recorded as The Relations on the Cape label, and it's a request for Nat Papagallo. Again, Robert Burton on lead. The flip side, I was showing it to you guys in the video, was also Smile Baby, which is that same song, but this is the side that they released as the A-side, going out to Nat from October 63, The Relations, a.k.a. the Cacti on the Cape label. It's called Until We Two Are One.
The years have come and gone, and we are still together, but I still hope and pray for the day when we two are one.
By request for Nat Papagallo, those are The Relations, a.k.a. the Cacti, from October 1963 on the Cape label, Until We Two Are One. Did you know Cape had a record store in Brooklyn back in I think it was in the 70s. They used to put out the Music Bible. It's what it was called. And I still have those, by the way. I have them in the drawer somewhere. And I don't know, they're probably collecting dust somewhere as we continue here on the Vinyltreasure Show. Now, last week I played a request for Bopper Boy Warren. He requested the Royal Masters, a group out of Houston, Texas, on the Philadelphia Guidant label, a song entitled Don't Leave Me This Way. And I asked Warren if he had the record. He did not. So Warren, you haven't heard the flip side of this. So we're going to play it because I like both sides of this record. It's not in great shape, but I bought it from somebody in Houston, Texas a long time ago on eBay, by the way. I will not buy on eBay anymore. I will not with the sales tax anymore. If you want to sell to Johnny G, you got to contact me. Please contact me. I buy from one dealer only, maybe two. One dealer only. Another dealer said that he would work with me, but definitely one dealer, and he knows who he is. But anyway, let's flip over that record, Warren. Let me know what you think about the B-side of it, as It features Fred Kibble on lead, and he co-wrote the song. This one from January 63. They're called the Royal Masters. It's on the Guidon label. This is the B-side. It's called You're the One.
When you smile, you know my heart skips a beat. When you cry, you know my heart's at your feet. And when you hold my hand, I get a feeling as though so grand. That's why I know you're the one. When we kiss, you know you set my soul on fire. Never, never, never have I felt a little feeling with such a burning, burning desire. And when you hold me close, I get a feeling of ecstasy. That's why I know you're the one. I've been all around the world, but there's no one else for me. I'm not lying, baby. Oh, baby, can't you see? There's one thing I want you to know, little girl, that my heart is in your hands, and your every wish is my command. The way you talk, you know you paralyze my mind. When you walk, yeah, you send cold chills up and down my spine. And when I feel your touch, I get a feeling it's much too much. That's why I know
Sounds like Jackie Wilson on that side. He does. I like that side just a tad better. I do. The Royal Masters there. January 1963. It's on the Guidon label. Wish I had a better copy. I do not. I bought that from somebody in Houston, Texas, and he graded it VG. I think it's worse than that, but it's Fred Kibble on lead for that one, a song he co-wrote. That's called You're the One. As we continue here in Vinyl Treasure Overtime, a few weeks ago I played a request for Richard Fox. Haven't seen him in a couple of weeks now, but he requested this group from the Bronx, New York. They're known as the Rialtos on the CB record label. I played the killer ballad. It was called It Hurts. He requested that side, but the flip is a very cool up-tempo. It features Douglas Rodriguez on lead. This one from December of 1963. They're called the Rialtos. It's on the CB label. It's called Let Me In. That's December 63 release there. They're called the Rialtos. The Rialtos on the CB label. Douglas Rodriguez. He's the lead singer. Let Me In is the name of the tune. At the ballad side, a great ballad, It Hurts, is the ballad. Now, in 1966, this group would record as the Latin Souls on the Cap label. I don't know if I have that Latin Souls 45, Dave. You have the Latin Souls on the Cap label, Dave? I think it's a cool record. I don't have it. Anyway, as we continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Overtime, here's a request for George Tompkins. This group is known as the Townsmen, which included Frankie Lyman's little brother, and that would be Louis Lyman. Of course, he was also the lead singer of the Teen Chords, recorded for the Fury and for the N labels. But here is Louis Lyman doing lead with this group, the Townsmen, and he also co-wrote the tune. It came out on the PJ record label out of New York City. It's going out by special request to George Tompkins from June 63. The Townsmen on PJ Records. It's called I Can't Go.
It was the other day you broke my heart when you told me we had to part, and I cried. Yes, I cried all day. You said to me
June 1963 there, going out to George Tompkins, the Townsmen, with Louis Lyman on lead. It's on PJ Records, song entitled I Can't Go. Almost time for Johnny G to go. A few more 45s here, and I remember when I purchased my first copy of this next 45, it was at a Montvale, New Jersey record show. Somebody walked in the show with a 25 count box. He was selling them for $10 a piece. I guess he figured he could make a quick $250. I think he sold them all, if I'm not mistaken. This was back sometime in 1982, I think, but I used to hear this song quite often on New York City oldie radio. Now, the song was written by the lead singer. His name is Joey Zisa. Joey Zisa, he's on lead. He's originally from Patterson, New Jersey, and his group is called Joey and the Lexingtons, and this one's from November 1963. It's on the Dunes label, Joey and the Lexingtons, with their tune called Bobby.
There's a girl that I know, and that girl, I love her so.
Boom, 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 zoom-a-lam, zoom-a-lam, zoom-a-lam. zumba pop, well zumba zumba pop.
I meet her while walking down the street. I feel so heavenly. You know I'm with my Bobby. When I kiss her, when I hold her, and when I squeeze her, my head goes spinning. Oh, but I love her. You know I really love her. I pray the Lord that you're happy, 'cause I'm in love with Bobby. When I kiss her, when I hold her, when I squeeze her, my head goes spinning. Oh, but I love her. I know I really love her. I pray the Lord that you're happy, 'cause I'm in love with Bobby.
That's November 1963 for Joey and the Lexingtons. Joey Zisa. Joey Zisa is the lead singer. That tune on the Dunes label, it's called Bobby. Now, they have a harder record that they do on the Comet label. I have that 45, I do. I think I have a white promo of that Comet record. Johnny G here. We got, I think... 3 more 45s to go before we sign off here now. In last week's Vinyl Treasure Show, I played the B-side of the first of 3 on the Win label for Ronnie and the Highlights. Played the up-tempo side of their first. It was called What the Next Day May Bring. And it was Daryl Letts, I think, that requested that he'd like me to play the A-side of the 45 as it features Ronnie Goodson on lead. And this song made it up to number 3 on WAMS out of Wilmington, Delaware. So this is going out to Daryl from July 1963. It's Ronnie and the Highlights. It's on the Win label. It's called A Slow Dance.
Dance, a slow dance, so that I can be close to you. It's just because I love you. Only a slow dance will do. Eyes like a fast dance, but that was before I knew that wonderful, wonderful feeling of dancing a slow dance with you. I'm so tired of dancing all those new fast dances. I'm so doggone tired of dancing all alone. I'm in love, and I don't care who knows it. That's why I wanna dance close to you. Whoa, I wanna dance to love songs with
you. I wanna go on forever, dancing a slow dance with you. I wanna dance to love song. I wanna dance with my arms real tight around you. I wanna go on forever, dancing a slow dance with you. I wanna
That's going out to Daryl Letts there. Those are I lost my place. Ronnie and the Highlights. Ronnie Goodson on lead there, July 1963. On the Win label, A Slow Dance. I think, Daryl, didn't you mention that you had that record? I think you mentioned that last week. And to answer Fred's question, no, I do not have the picture sleeve of this next record. But anyway, I think this next record actually was requested by Nat Papagallo. We go back to Brooklyn, New York. Played a lot of groups out of Brooklyn tonight, but it's the group's only release. It came out on the United Sound Associates label. Now, the tune was written by the lead singer. His name is Ronnie Nadeau. Ronnie Nadeau's his name, and we're going to give it a spin here from June of 1964. They're called the Delcades. The Delcades, it's on the United Sound Associate label. Now, did you know, as Fred mentioned, it did come with a picture sleeve, which I do not have, and there are two versions of this. There is one with a guitar intro, and there's one without a guitar intro. I think I have both, but what was filed away was the non-guitar intro, because there is a guitar right in the beginning of I think the first presses, then they took it out. So this one doesn't have it. You'll hear he just comes right in with the singing, but it's from June 64. These are the Delcades, and it's called It Takes Two to Fall in Love.
When you were wedding just the other day, and this, my darling, is what the preacher said. It takes two to fall in love. It takes you to fall in love. Remember, my friend, yeah, from this day on, it takes two to fall in love. It takes you to be my love. It takes nothing else but true love. Remember, my friend, yeah, from this day on, it takes two to fall in love. Do you recall that first evening when you and I fell in love? You looked at me and I looked at you, and it takes two to fall in love. It makes you my only love. Remember, my friend, from this day on, it takes two to fall in love. Went to a wedding just the other day, and this, my darling, is what the preacher said. Remember, my friend, from this day on, it takes two to fall
That's from June 1964. Those are the Delcades. The Delcades on the United Sound Associate label with their tune called parentheses, It Takes, close parentheses, Two to Fall in Love. That's going out to Nat Papagala. That's going to do it for Johnny G and the Vinyl Treasure Show. I want to thank you for joining Johnny G, listening to my original Vinyl 45s. You want to get in touch with me, send me an email at vinyltreasures@aol.com. Please go to my YouTube site, if those of you watching in YouTube, and click the subscribe button. You'll get notifications when I'm on live. You never know when I'm going to do a show in the middle of the day. If I'm home, I'm working, unfortunately, all week long. But sometimes with long weekends or something, I might do a show. In the middle of the day, and I wanted to have guests come up. We could record. I wanted George Tompkins to come up and be a guest on my show, but I have to convince him. Maybe he will one day. But anyway, that's going to do it for tonight. Hope you dug on all the cool tunes here, and we're going to close the show tonight with a flip side from last week. I featured the Plurals out of Elizabeth, New Jersey on the Wanger label, and I featured the side called I'm Sold, which was their second on the label. Now, the lead singer of their first release, the song was called Miss Annie. He was killed in like a gas station fire in February of 1959, and they had to look for a new lead singer. They wanted to continue recording, so they picked Mike Benz to be their new lead singer, and he was the lead on both sides. The side I played last week, I'm Sold, and tonight's Closer. So it's their second release on the Wanger label. It's the Closer tonight from April of 1959, the Plurals on Wanger, a song entitled Good Night. That's the Closer for tonight. Once again, folks, thanks a lot for sticking around. A program note: next Saturday will be my all 60s show, so I'll be playing all 1963 to 69 records out of my collection. Tomorrow evening here on Top Shelf Oldies, please tune into my buddy Dave the Raven, his Relics and Rarities show. Lots of cool 60s sounds out of Dave's collection. He is a collector pretty much like me. Very much so like me. He has two turntables now. I don't know if he uses his MP3 player, no, CD player anymore. Dave, do you still use your CD player maybe once in a while, like the chime said? But anyway, but tune in tomorrow night from 9 to midnight on Top Shelf Oldies for my buddy Dave the Rave and his Relics and Rarities show, and all the shows on Top Shelf Oldies during the week. We have cool disc jockeys beginning at 8 p.m., 8 to 11, 8 to longer. I'm on till, almost 1 o'clock now. But anyway, that's going to do it again. Thank you, Charlene, for all your help. Again, folks, I'll be back next Saturday at 10 o'clock for 1960s groups out of my collection, cool 60s sounds. So that's it, folks. Have a safe and happy week. Just want to say, everybody, so long.
Good night. Good night. Good night. Hope your dreams will be of me, my dear. Hope our parting will not bring a tear. May the pale moonlight shine on you tonight. Good night. Good night, my love. Sleep tight. Will my kisses last you through the night? Will the love we had still burn so bright? While the stars above shine on you, my love, sleep tight, my love. Now I lay me down to sleep. Pray the Lord our hearts to keep. so true. Gee, I hope that love is you.
Okay, folks, did I make a mistake on? No, Dave said I did not. Sometimes I make mistakes. When I get too tired, I can't be tired for tomorrow. No, I cannot be. So there you go. That's the Wanger label. Those are the plurals with their tune called Good Night, an appropriate record to play when I sign off here. So again, folks, thanks a lot for sticking around, those of you in the YouTube chat room. I can't see, the unfortunate thing is I can't see which who is in the video chat. It doesn't show up. At least I don't know how to look at that. But I do see if people comment on the record. That's why sometimes I don't know when people leave or not. So I had some more requests here for some people. I'm not going to play them. I know they left the show. So anyway, again, thanks a lot, folks, for sticking around at this late hour. As I'll be back again in 2 weeks for more 50s and early 60s stuff out of my collection. Got so many things. I wanted to clean records. I was off. When President's Day, you think I had time to clean the records. I never got a chance to do it. I never have time anymore. I need to retire. I can't retire yet. But when I do that, then I'll be able to get everything in order. But it's not time yet. Again, thanks again, Charlene, for all your help. And again, I enjoy bringing you the tunes here. So just want to say, everybody, good night to you all. And again, I'll either see you next week or I'll see you in 2 weeks. Okay, folks? Again, have a safe week. So long now. Bye-bye.